Dylan Christopher Minnette was born on December 29, 1996, in Evansville, Indiana, into a family that already carried the rhythm of life in its veins. His father was a musician, and from a young age, Dylan was surrounded by music, instruments, and the hum of creativity. Before he understood the mechanics of fame or film, Dylan felt a pull toward performance, a pull that would guide him from small town stages to global screens and beyond. Even as a child, while most kids chased footballs or video games, Dylan chased rhythm, movement, and the thrill of storytelling through his own actions. He would spend hours moving to music in his room, imagining that his small bedroom was a theater, and that his tiny sneakers, hitting the floor, echoed like applause in grand halls. When Dylan was still young, his family moved from Evansville to Champaign, Illinois, and eventually to Los Angeles, so he could pursue acting more seriously. Surrounded by Hollywood's hustle, he began his career as a child actor. His earliest roles were small guest appearances on television shows that gave him exposure to professional sets, crews, and the energy of storytelling. Working alongside adult colleagues, Dylan matured quickly. He learned professionalism on the fly and absorbed lessons from every director, co-star, and crew member. Walking onto a set as a kid was exciting and fun, but it was also formative, shaping his sense of work ethic, empathy, and adaptability. After a series of guest roles, Dylan landed his first major long-term part in a crime drama that allowed him to explore emotional depth and screen presence. This role was his first significant experience anchoring storylines that required nuance, sensitivity, and dedication. Audiences began to notice a young actor who could convey sincerity beyond his years. While continuing to act, Dylan transitioned to feature films. One of his earliest notable movie roles put him in a story where he navigated the harsh realities of bullying and adolescence. Later, he appeared in critically acclaimed films that ranged from intense thrillers to light-hearted family comedies, showcasing a versatility rare for someone so young. One defining moment of Dylan's early career was landing the lead role in a major family film adaptation. For Dylan, it wasn't just another acting job, it was a personal milestone. He grew up loving the source material, and stepping into that world felt like a dream realized. Working alongside established actors, he brought humor, fear, and genuine curiosity to the character, proving he could carry a film and engage audiences of all ages. While these projects built his reputation, the role that would change Dylan's career trajectory came when he was cast as Clay Jensen in a teen drama series that became a cultural phenomenon. The show addressed heavy, relevant themes like mental health, trauma, and bullying, and Dylan's portrayal of Clay, a thoughtful, compassionate, and conflicted high school student, resonated worldwide. Millions connected with his performance, and for many, he became a relatable voice during a time when important conversations were finally happening more openly. The series was both celebrated and controversial, but Dylan approached the role with respect and intentionality. He often spoke about how the show sparked dialogue among families, classrooms, and communities about subjects that had long been ignored. Fans repeatedly emphasized that Clay's journey felt real, authentic, and deeply human. While the series brought him global recognition, it also taught Dylan about the responsibility fame carries. He became a figure millions looked up to, someone whose emotional depth could influence how audiences reflected on real-life struggles. Even with rising stardom, Dylan never let acting define his entire identity. Music had always been a parallel passion. As a child, he formed a band with school friends, a creative space where he could explore rhythm, melody, and expression freely. Over time, what began as a hobby evolved into a serious musical endeavor. Dylan became co-lead singer and rhythm guitarist for the band, blending indie rock, alternative, and post-punk influences into songs that resonated with a generation. Their music gained traction on streaming platforms and eventually led to major label recognition. Balancing music and acting was not always easy. After the teen drama series concluded, Dylan took on roles in genre films that demonstrated his comfort in horror, thriller, and drama. But he spoke candidly about his relationship with acting, explaining that after years of working in film and television, the craft that once thrilled him sometimes felt like a job. Music became a space where his creative voice felt unfiltered and pure. In this new focus, he discovered freedom, collaboration, and the power of creating art on his own terms. Dylan's personal life, though under public interest, remained relatively private. Relationships and connections were experiences from which he learned about authenticity, trust, and balance. Even as attention from fans and media grew, he maintained a grounded persona. Friends and collaborators describe him as humble, thoughtful, and genuine, a young man committed to growth and self-discovery while navigating a complex industry. Dylan Minnette's journey from child actor to teen star to musician reflects more than a simple career trajectory. It is the story of evolution, resilience, and the constant pursuit of authenticity. From his earliest days in Evansville, Indiana, Dylan was surrounded by music. His father was a musician, and Dylan grew up hearing melodies, rhythms, and lyrics that would plant seeds for his own artistic expression. And like many children who dreamt of fame or recognition, Dylan's curiosity was rooted in creativity itself. He was fascinated not by the applause or accolades, but by the act of creating, by the power of telling stories through emotion, voice, and movement. From a young age, Dylan showed a remarkable ability to observe, understand, and internalize the world around him. He was introspective and thoughtful, qualities that would serve him well in acting. When he first stepped onto a set as a child, the world of television was at once exhilarating and intimidating. He worked alongside seasoned professionals who treated him with respect, yet expected the kind of discipline and focus that many adults struggled to maintain. Dylan learned quickly that success was not handed to him. It had to be earned through preparation, humility, and the courage to make mistakes and learn from them. As a child actor, Dylan appeared on popular television series, stepping into roles that demanded maturity and emotional depth. Each role, no matter how small, became a building block, teaching him how to navigate complex narratives and bring characters to life with sincerity. It was during this time that Dylan developed his understanding of human emotion and the subtleties that make a performance resonate. He discovered that acting was not just about memorizing lines. It was about listening, observing, and embodying experiences that were not his own, but could still feel real to audiences. Even as he gained recognition in the industry, Dylan maintained a sense of groundedness. He did not view fame as the ultimate goal. Rather, it was a vehicle for exploring his craft, a chance to delve deeper into characters and stories that mattered. He approached each project with curiosity and dedication, never settling for surface-level performances. This commitment to growth and authenticity became the defining trait of his career. When Dylan was cast as Clay Jensen in the groundbreaking series 13 Reasons Why, his career entered a new phase. The show dealt with difficult, often controversial topics: mental health, bullying, trauma, and the challenges of adolescence. Dylan's portrayal of Clay was nuanced and heartfelt, He captured the quiet strength, vulnerability, and moral complexity of a young man navigating a world that often seemed overwhelming. For millions of viewers, Clay's story became a mirror, reflecting struggles, fears, and hopes they had faced in their own lives. Dylan approached the role with deep empathy, understanding that his performance had the potential to impact real people in profound ways. The responsibility that came with 13 Reasons Why taught Dylan valuable lessons about the power of visibility and influence. He realized that acting was not merely a personal pursuit. It carried the weight of shaping conversations, challenging perceptions, and inspiring audiences. Through this experience, he learned that true artistry is measured not only by skill or fame, but by the authenticity and honesty with which one approaches every project. He embraced the opportunity to tell meaningful stories, understanding that the impact of a performance could extend far beyond the screen. Amid the intensity of his acting career, Dylan's passion for music remained a central part of his identity. He co-founded the band Wallows with friends, a creative outlet that allowed him to explore another dimension of artistic expression. Music provided a freedom that acting sometimes could not, the ability to craft and convey emotion without the constraints of scripts or characters. As the band gained traction, Dylan realized that music was not just a hobby, but a calling, a medium through which he could connect with audiences on an intimate, unfiltered level. Balancing acting and music required discipline, focus, and an unwavering dedication to his craft. Dylan navigated the demands of television production while simultaneously writing, rehearsing, and performing music. This dual pursuit was challenging, yet it also reinforced his understanding of resilience and adaptability. He discovered that true fulfillment comes not from excelling in a single domain, but from embracing multiple passions, learning to pivot when necessary, and committing fully to the journey, regardless of public recognition. Through these experiences, Dylan began to understand that success is not measured by external accolades, fame, or financial gain. Instead, it is defined by the courage to follow one's passions, the resilience to overcome obstacles, and the authenticity to remain true to oneself in the face of expectation. Every role he played, every song he wrote, and every choice he made was guided by this principle. He understood that life is a series of chapters, each offering lessons that contribute to the fullness of one's narrative. As Dylan's career evolved, so did his personal growth. He learned the importance of reflection, balance, and self-care. Navigating fame and public scrutiny taught him that while visibility can amplify success, it can also magnify pressure. He developed the ability to maintain perspective, to protect his personal life, and to prioritize his creative integrity over external validation. These lessons became the foundation of a mature, thoughtful approach to both his career and his personal life. Music became an especially powerful form of expression. Through Wallows, Dylan was able to channel emotion, explore identity, and communicate stories that were deeply personal. Each song became a dialogue with listeners, a way to convey vulnerability, joy, pain, and hope. The creative process in music reinforced his understanding that art is not a static achievement, but an ongoing conversation, a means of connecting with oneself, collaborators, and audiences alike. Even as he shifted focus toward music, Dylan did not abandon acting. Instead, he approached it with a renewed sense of intentionality, choosing projects that aligned with his values and allowed him to explore meaningful narratives. He recognized that the core of his artistry lay not in the medium itself, but in the authenticity he brought to every endeavor. Whether on screen or on stage with his band, Dylan remained committed to exploring human experience in its many forms. Dylan's story is also one of resilience in the face of change. He experienced the challenges of growing up in the public eye, balancing personal relationships with professional demands, and navigating the pressures of success. Yet through every challenge, he demonstrated a willingness to learn, adapt, and embrace new paths. He understood that growth often requires discomfort, and that the pursuit of passion sometimes demands sacrifices, courage, and perseverance. Through it all, Dylan remained grounded, valuing humility, empathy, and integrity. He approached collaborators with respect, audiences with sincerity, and his work with dedication. He demonstrated that fulfillment is not about achieving perfection, but about engaging deeply with one's craft, exploring new possibilities, and staying true to one's own voice. His journey is a testament to the idea that creativity is not a destination but a lifelong process, one that evolves with time, experience, and self-discovery. Today, Dylan Minnette stands as a multifaceted artist whose life illustrates that success is not linear. Acting gave him structure, discipline, and early exposure to storytelling, while music provides a space for freedom, exploration, and authentic expression. Together, these pursuits show that a meaningful life is not defined solely by external achievements, but by the courage to embrace one's passions, the resilience to adapt, and the integrity to remain authentic. Every chapter of his life, whether filled with fame, challenge, or reinvention, contributes to the richness of his story. Through acting, music, and personal growth, Dylan Minnette reminds us that artistic pursuit is not a competition, but a conversation. A conversation with oneself, with collaborators, and with audiences. He shows that true success is measured not by milestones, but by depth of engagement, honesty in creation, and the ability to inspire others. His journey demonstrates that life's meaning comes from actively participating in one's passions, embracing change, and connecting authentically with the world. In the end, Dylan Minnette's story is a celebration of resilience, creativity, and authenticity. It is about choosing courage over comfort, passion over conformity, and truth over pretense. He teaches us that every decision, every performance, and every song has the potential to shape not only a career, but a life lived with intention and heart. Dylan's journey is an invitation to embrace one's own evolution, to remain curious, to take risks, and to honor the process of growth in every form. If you found Dylan Minnette's journey from child actor to musician inspiring, like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of creativity, resilience, and growth. Hit the bell icon to never miss an update, and share in the comments which part of Dylan's story resonates most with you.